Hey teachers, welcome back. I am so glad to be here with y'all today. I hope you guys had a fabulous New Year's Eve last night and Happy New Year for today. I'm so excited that you're here with us. Hi Jelaine, I'm so glad you're here. So we're on training number 3 today, and it's about choosing a problem and solution for your kiddos. And I just wanted to say, those of you who have been showing up all 3 days, like today is the 3rd day, so thank you for always showing up and commenting in the comments during our Facebook Lives. That's awesome. I really enjoy hearing all of what you have to say, and your questions and your concerns, your suggestions are always welcome. Okay, so I really appreciate you guys. I just also wanted to say that remember that if you submit a question, you ask a question during our Facebook Live training, if I miss the question during my training, then I will always put it in the following day's training, okay? So I will make sure to answer it. I'm not going to forget about you, so don't worry, okay? So, so far I have these people in the raffle to win either a TPT or Amazon gift card or a mentor text by Peter Reynolds. So far I have Valerie in the raffle, I have Jelaine in the raffle, and I have Alyssa during my trainings. And a week from now or 2 weeks from now, whenever you look back and you're going to think, oh, I forgot what Kara said about this, and what did she say about that? I mean, if you don't download the trainings, the videos, then you'll want to take notes, okay? But just so you know, you can download these videos so you can have them forever, okay? So that is up to you. So the workbook is there for you in the file section if you want to print it out, okay? So let's go ahead and reflect on yesterday's training, okay? So yesterday's training was all about show but don't tell. So what did you learn that you are going to try? Okay, so you're going to, let me know in the comments, you're going to tell us something that you're going to try. Are you going to try using a writing dictionary for your students to spell words, okay, learn alphabetical order? Or are you going to try having a desk contest where the kids are competing against each other to see who the quietest table is for table points to get their bonus bucks or their tickets, whatever your incentive is? Okay, or are you going to try to reward your students for writing either a whole page when you're doing different genres with academic vocabulary, okay, rewarding them, giving them incentives for that? Or are you going to try using compliments and suggestions for your students when they're sitting in the author's chair? Okay, so let us know in the comments what something is that you're going to try that's something new in your classroom so we can celebrate you, okay? So another thing I was going to ask you guys, if you could tell us in the comments, what is the gradual release of responsibility? Okay, so this is something I've been talking about for 2 days now, where today was going to be number 3. So tell us in the comments, what is the gradual release of responsibility? Let us know what you think. All right, today is all about the dot, okay, by Peter Reynolds. And I love this story. It teaches a lot about growth mindset and perseverance, and it's great for problem and solution. Now, these lessons that I've given you already, this one is also in the file section. I just uploaded it in the file section this morning. So if you want to go up to the file section and go ahead and download this lesson, that would be awesome. You can download it and look at it. You can print it out, whatever you want to do. So today's objective is we can identify and write a problem and solution for our story. Oh, hi, Alyssa. I'm so glad you're here. Alyssa says, I'm definitely going to use the writing dictionary and rewarding them for writing. Okay, that's awesome. Thank you, Alyssa, for sharing. Jelaine says, I'm going to try to use the compliments and suggestions for kids in the author's chair and to reward them for writing. Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Hi, Abby. I'm so glad you're here. So if you just hopped on, I want you guys to think about something that you learned yesterday from yesterday's training, and you're going to share with us something you're going to try in your classroom, okay? And then also, if you could comment on what you think the gradual release of responsibility is, and then we can talk about that too. So Jelaine says, we use gradual release for all subjects areas, so I'm pretty used to that. Oh, that's great. And that's definitely true, Jelaine. You can use the gradual release for math. I use that for math and science and social studies and reading, all the different subjects. It's just good practice. It's good practice for all the subjects. Okay? So that is awesome. Thank you guys for sharing what you're going to try in your classroom. So today is all about The Dot, book number 3. I chose the book, The Dot, because it is such a great story about not giving up the first time, but trying again as a solution to your problem. The objective for this lesson is I can identify and create a problem and solution for our story. In this story, the character draws a dot on their paper. The teacher says, sign it. Vashti, who is the character, doesn't think her dot looks good, but her teacher does. Then she decides that she can make it better, so she designs all these different dots that are different shapes, sizes, and colors. She is showing perseverance, and this is great for having a growth mindset. And at the end of the story, she helps another student draw his picture and sign it for the wall in the teacher's art room. This lesson is all about choosing a problem and solution for your story. Every good story needs a problem and solution, so this book is perfect to teach about that. It's important also to teach our students that there is more than one way to solve a problem. Don't give up. If you don't succeed, try again. Someone else might have another way, and it's okay to try their way too. What a great lesson for real life. Okay, so Abby says we use gradual release for many subjects. I am excited to try more mentor text for writing and planning to try interactive notebooks. Yay, Abby, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. That is awesome. I love it. I love when y'all are telling me different things you're going to try. So this is lesson number 3 at a glance. You have, in the lesson plan, you have 3 different differentiated interactive notebooks. You have explicit directions for the I do, we do, and you do. You have vocabulary cards. You have skill cards that tell about problem and solution. Okay, so that's it at a glance. And then the I do part, this is exactly what I am going to tell my students, exactly how I'm going to give them this lesson and how I'm going to present it to them. Okay, I know everybody's delivery is a little bit different, so that's why I explicitly wrote out what I'm going to say. So you're going to ask your students, does a story need a problem? What is a problem? Does a story need a solution? What is a solution? Now, I know some of us have already taught problem and solution in the fall. If you have not taught problem and solution, this might actually be the first time that you've actually taught this to your kids, which is perfectly fine. Okay, if your scope and sequence doesn't have problem and solution or story elements for the fall, then it usually has it for the spring. So this is a perfect segue into that. Okay, if a story didn't have these story elements, would it be interesting or boring? Oh, it would be so boring. Did you ever have a time in your life that you messed up and made a mistake? Did you ever try again, or did you give up? Well, that is a problem if you gave up. But a solution could be that you kept on trying. Today, we'll be listening for the problem and solution, our story called The Dot. And so then you're going to read the dot to them. And so that's the I do. Remember, you can do the I do the first day. The second day, you can do the we do. So you're going to show them the story. You're going to kind of review what the story was about. You're going to give them each a Post-it note. You're going to make a T-chart on your anchor chart, and they're going to make a T-chart on their Post-it note as well. They're going to write a P on one side of their T-chart and an S on the other side of their T-chart. As you're listening to the story, draw or write the problem under the P and draw or write the solution under the S. Okay? So what you could do is you could review the problem from yesterday, and they're going to draw it on the P side. they're going to draw the solution on the S side. After reading the story, have your students turn to tell their partner and share their problem and solution, and then compare them to each other. Now, a really good rigor and relevance tip that I'm going to give you today is after they turn and tell, you can have them share what their partner said. This is really, really good to teach them how to listen to each other and remember the details that their partner said. Hey, Debbie, I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for watching today. Okay, so they're going to share their problem and solution, and I'm going to show you some examples in just a minute. Okay, so the I do can be the first day for this lesson. The we do can be the second day. Just make sure you do the you do every single day. So you're going to hand out an interactive notebook called My Problem and Solution. Now, before you do that, on your anchor chart, you're going to have the kids come up to the anchor chart and post their problem and solution post-it notes. Okay, you're going to make an anchor chart all full of their problems and solutions. So then you're going to hand out the notebook called My Problem and Solution. Tell your students that they are going to think of their own problem and solution to their own story. You're going to draw or write about it on their template. There are 3 differentiated ones to choose from to meet the needs of your students. This is differentiated in that you have different templates depending on your students' level of writing. And I will show you the examples in just a second. Always have an example of a finished template to show your class what your expectations are. You can use my example that I'm going to give you in the lesson plan, or make your own example. While they're working on their template, you're going to set the stage for your writer's workshop. You're going to put on some soft music. You can either sit at your teacher table and call the students up to your teacher table, or you can walk around and help. Pick the best one to show the class for a compliment. And then at the end, you're going to have a reflection. The reflection piece is whenever you call on some kids to come and sit in the author's chair. And the ones that you call on, make sure they're different each day, okay? And you're going to give the class compliments and suggestions about their work. So you're setting the stage for whenever they are actually writing their own story, okay? So you're doing the I do, the we do, and the you do. This is examples of your anchor charts that you could make. So you can do this 2 different ways. In the lesson plan, I have these problem and solution cards. And I made them kind of like a winter theme. Okay? So you can have these cards on your pocket chart, and they can be all mixed up. Your kids are going to come up and they're going to put them in order as the right problem that goes with the right solution. Okay? So for example, I have a snowman that is all messed up as a problem, and then the solution, he's all put together. Okay? The problem could be a blizzard outside. The solution could be a fire in the fireplace drinking hot chocolate. So you're warm inside from the blizzard. So those are different cards. They're all winter themed cards. Or you could have your kids draw on their post-it note. If they could draw their problem and solution, make a T-chart. I always teach my kids at the very beginning of the year what a T-chart is, so they know exactly what to draw when I say draw a T-chart. Or you could have them even draw these on their whiteboard. If you wanted to have your kids sit on the carpet with their whiteboards, that is perfectly fine too. But I like to have them use Post-it notes because then I like to post them on our anchor chart so they're interactive, because I like to have my anchor charts interactive. And so they can draw either a problem and solution from the cards that you showed them, or if they already know a problem and solution that they would like to include in their own story, then that's fine too. They can draw their problem and solution. So what you're doing is you're giving them all the tools that they need to brainstorm their first story. Okay? So yesterday we talked about characters. We talked about showing but not telling. We talked about different emotions. So yesterday they thought of characters that they are going to use in their story. Today they're thinking about problem and solution for their story. Okay? You're giving them all the tools that they need for their first story. So here are the skill cards. What is a problem? A problem is a conflict that the character has in the story. So now that you've taught them what characters are, and you've taught them about round and flat characters, remember a round character is a character that we know a lot about in the story. Okay, we have a lot of information. A flat character is a character that we do not know a lot about in the story. Okay, so in the story The Dot, you can say who was a round character, who was a flat character. Well, the girl, Vashti, was the round character. The teacher probably was a flat character. And the young boy in the story was probably a flat character. So you can kind of compare the characters that you've read about already in your stories. And then they're going to decide if their characters are round or flat. They can have both. Okay, and then the solution card says a solution is how the character solves or resolves the problem. Usually the solution happens toward the end of the story or at the very end of the story. Okay, so in The Dot, you're going to talk about the problem and solution that the author did. And then here's your cards, your problem and solution cards that you can use for your pocket chart. You could cut them up, you can laminate them, you can mix them up on your pocket chart or your document camera and have the kids put them back in order that they match the problem and solution together. Okay, so that is up to you, however you want to do that. I'm trying to give you lots of different tools so you can, differentiate to meet the needs of your kids and meet the needs of your teaching style, okay? These are your differentiated interactive notebooks. There is a picture of this in your lesson plan, so you can use my example if you would like to show your kids this is how you color, this is how you shade, this is how you outline with marker. I'm very, very picky about that, because I do not want it to be scribble scrabble, and so I really I model a lot of coloring and outline and shading. When they shade the background, I share with them, I show them how to turn the crayon onto its side. They're going to break a crayon and take off the paper of the crayon, and they only need one shading crayon. Okay, they don't need like 10, just one favorite shading crayon that they're going to shade the background. So I show them what shading looks like. So I'm very, very particular about that. And then I always walk around while they're working. And then I'm going to be picking the best one to show the class. We give them a compliment. We applaud for them. So I pick one that shows the best coloring, the best shading, the best outlining. So what do the colored dots mean? So again, the red is the kindergarten. Okay. So the kindergarten one has the book right here where my mouse is. It has a problem and solution. So now what the kindergartners can do is they can draw pictures of their problem and solution that's going to be in their story. That would be perfectly fine. Then they can color it. The on-level one, the first grade, is the problem and solution, but they have lines for the sentences and a picture. So you're going to have them write a complete sentence. You're going to have them draw pictures to match their sentence, okay? The above level, second grade one, is they're going to write sentences, or they're going to be writing a lot of information about the problem and a lot of information about the solution. In second grade, I wouldn't have them just write one sentence. I would have them write 3 or 4, because usually a problem has a lot of details and a lot of different parts to it, so they're going to be very detailed when they describe their problem and solution. Okay? Now, those are the notebooks for your lesson plan. Like I said, the lesson plan is already in the file section, so you can go ahead and print that out, okay? If you have any questions about today's lesson, make sure you're asking in the comments, okay? So we're going to go on to bonus number 3. Bonus number 3. Okay. This is probably one of my favorite things about Writer's Workshop. This is a poster that I have made using colored pencils, and I'm going to give you this bonus today in the file section. It's my writing process poster for Writer's Workshop. So this is how I make this poster. In this resource, you have these pencils. They already have the names of all the different parts of the writing process. You have brainstorming, first draft, student conference, proofreading, teacher conference, editing and revision, final draft, and publishing. Okay. On day 5, on Friday, I'm going to share with you how I get my kids to get started on their first story. And this is how they're going to get started. Okay, they have this poster, they have a magic number. So every student in my class has a magic number. they all know what their number is. They have a popsicle stick, and these popsicle sticks have numbers on them. I've numbered them 1 through 22. And then I have these Velcro strips that I have hot glued onto this poster. So each child has their own popsicle stick that they are moving down to the next step of the writing process. Each child is going to be on a different step of the writing process. Now, that may sound a little scary to you, okay? But it is awesome, okay? Like I said yesterday, Writer's Workshop is differentiated by itself because the kids are writing on their own level that they're comfortable with. They are moving forward in the writing process at their own level, at their own speed. You might have a child that goes down these steps very quickly, and I tell them you may not go to the next step until Miss Rickman tells you to, okay? So at this point of the year, this poster, this is at the very, very beginning of the year when the kids haven't started yet, but my poster now has sticks on every single part of the writing process. I may have 1 on brainstorming. I may have 10 on first draft. I may have 5 on teacher conference. I may have 6 on final draft. So they're all on different parts of the writing process, okay? Some of my kids might be writing 5 books a year to publish. Some of them might only be writing 3 books a year. I've had kids that write 7 or 8 books a year. So it really depends on how fast they write, their level of writing, how fast they can go through the writing process, okay? Each part of the writing process has a template that they have to complete, okay? So this poster is going to be for you guys. It's going to be in the file section after the webinar is over, okay? And I'm going to go over to an organizational tip real quick. This organizational tip is about how I organize all the papers, all the different templates for each step of the writing process. I have this cheat sheet that says Writer's Workshop Paper, and I have this banker's shelf, and I have different slots for all the different parts of the writing process. And what I did was I put the numbers on the shelf. So number 1 is brainstorming, okay? So I have this cheat sheet at my teacher table. If a child needs page 1, which is brainstorming, I will tell them, go to the shelf and get page 1. And I just have them pull out the page for the number. I don't worry about like, okay, go get the brainstorming page, because some of them will not be able to read those words yet. Now, some of them will. And depending on how many times they have gone through the writing process, they already know, they will understand the 3rd or 4th time. They'll understand, okay, I need to get brainstorming first, then I need to get first draft. So they start to understand the different levels and then the different pages that they need for the process. If I have a kid that needs page 5, let's say they're on proofreading, I'll say, okay, go to the shelf and bring me page 5, okay? Now, I'm not going to show you what each of these templates mean just yet. I will do that in the maybe tomorrow's training or the next training. But I will tell you that this is a very easy way to organize all your pages for the writing process. So, will you let me know in the comments? I would like to know how, in the past, how have you organized your writing templates for your class? Or you can tell me how do your kids know which stage of the writing process they are on? Do you use a clip chart? Do they have a page in their writing folder that they go by? Do you have a poster with popsicle sticks? I mean, there's all different kinds of ways that you can do this, and I've seen on Pinterest there's tons of ways, but this is the way that I like to use this, and that's beneficial for me. So after I have my mini lesson for the day, I hand out my writing folders to my kids, and what they'll do is they'll look at their stick and they'll say, tell me what step you're on, okay? So I hand them their folder, and let's say that I say, okay, Emma, tell me what step you're on. And Emma will say, thank you, I'm on first draft. Or Winston, tell me what step you're on. And he'll say, thank you, I'm on final draft. So he has to tell me, they have to tell me the steps. And you better believe that the first graders can tell me those big words. They can say brainstorming. They can say proofreading. They can say editing and revision. At the beginning of the year in the fall, I have already taught them all these different steps. And now they know exactly what step they're on. They know how to say those words. And I always tell them, you may not move to the next step until Miss Rickman tells you to. Okay, you can't just move your stick down to publishing in one day, because that's not what real authors do. Real authors might take a year or two to publish their story. Okay, it takes them a long time. So you're going to be a real author and a real illustrator. So let me just show you, I'm going to go through this cheat sheet real quick, and I'm going to share with you all the different templates that I have in my shelf here, my baker's box. Number 1 is brainstorming. Number 2 is first draft. Number 3 is student conference wheel. The student conference wheel has questions on it that they ask each other. Number 4 is student conference checklist. Number 5 is the proofreading checklist. Number 6 is the teacher conference checklist. Number 7 is editing and revision checklist. Number 8 is the second draft template. And number 9 and 10 and 11 are final draft pages that have different borders that they can choose from. Number 12 is the title page. Number 13 is dedication page. 14 is all about the author. 15 is a compliment page. 16 is a genre checklist page. 17 is a table of contents, because I do have kids that love to write chapter books. And then 18 is a self-assessment, self-reflection, and then 19 is a letter to parents. Okay? So those are the pages that I go through for my writing process. Okay? So Abby says, I have 4 pocket folders labeled with the steps for them to move papers. Oh, that's great, Abby. That's a great idea. I love that. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so if y'all have any questions about this poster or how I organize my shelf, go ahead and please ask, okay? My behavior management tip of the day is how to create a social contract or class promise. So I highly recommend that you have your class and you create a new social contract when you guys get back in January, okay? A social contract is a promise. It is a class promise that we are going to be respectful to each other, and we're going to follow the rules and procedures of the class with each other. So there's 4 different questions that I ask my kids. Number 1, how do we want to be treated by each other? And then we write words on our social contract about that. Number 2, how do we want to be treated by Mrs. Rickman? And then we write words about that on there. Number 3 is how do we want to treat Mrs. Rickman? Okay, that's an important one too. And then number 4 is how do we treat each other when there is conflict? Oh, that is very, very important. Now, today we talked about problem and solution, and we talked about problems that the characters have. Well, we have problems too. We have conflicts also. But how we solve them helps us be successful and be good friends to each other and just be good humans to each other, okay? So you could either do a class promise or you could do a social contract, and then you're going to make sentences. You're going to have the class generate sentences, rules, procedures, and write words with you on your social contract. And then they have to sign it. So what I like to do is I like to have my kids trace their hands on colored construction paper or cardstock. They trace their hands, they write their name on their hand, and they decorate it, and then they cut it out. I like to laminate the hands, and I like to put them around the class promise or the social contract. So it's like they've signed it, they've slapped a good deal on it. I mean, it's a done deal, okay? Now, anytime that they break a rule, they break a procedure, or if they're having trouble listening, following directions, being respectful, we always go back to the social contract. Now, the social contract stays on the wall in the classroom, so we can always refer back to it as many times as we can during the year, because the kids are going to forget. Some of them are going to forget about the rules. They're going to forget about the procedures. So you want to have it on the wall so you can always refer back to it as you need it. You can also go over it in your morning meeting time. Okay? Going over it in morning meeting, that is a perfect way for everybody to review the rules and procedures. And then in morning meeting, you can also create your social contract together as a class. And then I laminate the social contract and I put it on the wall. So that is what I recommend that you guys do, because you're going to have new kids coming in your class. You might have some kids leaving. You're going to have some new rules and procedures. And I always tell my kids, in January, first grade is going to get harder. It's going to get harder. So you're going to have to listen better. You're going to have to be more responsible. Okay? You're going to have to make sure that you are nicer to each other, kinder to each other, treat others the way you want to be treated. So, because it's going to get harder. And some of the kids are going to be, they're going to still be silly. They're going to still be class clowns. But others of them, hopefully, will have matured over the Christmas break, I'm hoping. And so they're going to be a little bit more, serious now that it's January, I'm hoping. So that's a really good thing to have in your classroom. Let me know in the comments if you've already had a social contract in your class for the fall, okay? So rigor and relevance tip for the day is author's chair questions, okay? I'm also going to share this with you in the file section. These are a list of questions that you can train your kids to ask each other when they publish a story or they're sharing their story to the class. And what you could do is you could put this on your document camera, or you can blow this up on your poster maker, whatever you want to do. So these are questions that really go with rigor and relevance. So number 1 says, what problems are you having with your piece? Or you could say, what problems did you have with your piece? Hey, Valerie, I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for watching. Number 2 is, what is the most important thing you're trying to say? Number 3, how do you feel about your story? Why? Number 4, tell what you love about it. Number 5, are you happy with your beginning and ending? Number 6, explain how your title fits your story. Number 7, what do you need help on? Number 8, who was your student conference partner? Number 9, what compliment did your conference partner have for you? And this is whenever the conference partner and the child, they can kind of have a conversation and they can kind of tell the class what they did. Number 10, does the beginning of your piece grab the reader's attention? And then this one, you could have the class put thumbs up, thumbs to the side, or thumbs down. So you could have them rate their story. So like I said, I'm going to put this in the file section when we're finished here in a little bit, and then you guys can use this on your document camera, or you can make it into a poster, okay? Okay, so Jelaine says, we've been using social contracts for about 7 years. I'm going to talk about it with my kids when we return and see if we need to revise it for the remainder of the year. That's great, Jelaine. I'm so glad that you guys have a social contract. That is awesome. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys know this. I posted this in the Facebook group yesterday about my Cross-Curricular Connections membership, okay? I don't know if you guys know, but I have a membership that is a monthly membership that you guys can sign up for. And if you're interested in a trial run for 7 days, guys, it's only $1 to try it for a week, okay? After a week is over, then you can either decide if you want level 1 or level 2. Level 1 is $20 a month. Level 2 is $25 a month. So this is what you get with level 1. Level 1 has 450 plus TPT resources from my TPT store. You get instant access to all of my TPT products anytime that you want to. It is divided into months on the membership, so you can, if you need anything for September, October, you go to the module that has the right month on it. If you need January, You're going to go to January module and you're going to find all of my TPT resources for January, okay? So there's 450 plus TPT resources in my membership, okay? Level 1 has all the TPT resources. It has 20 plus webinars. It has webinars for Writer's Workshop, Reader's Workshop, Math Workshop, Fahrenheit Friday, Focus Poetry, Literature Circles, Literacy Centers. Anything that I have done in my classroom, I have put into a webinar and I have taught you guys. In this membership, all the webinars are already there for you to watch anytime that you want to. It's at your fingertips anytime you want to. There's YouTube videos for each module. I have YouTube videos of me teaching. I have YouTube videos. I do have a YouTube channel, in case you don't know. If you're interested in checking out my YouTube channel, it is called Create Your Balance with Literacy. Okay. I do have a podcast also, which is called Create Your Balance with Literacy. And so my podcast episodes are also linked to my membership. And so you could listen to any podcast episode that you want to. It's all about teaching cross-curricular, because that's my niche. And then all of this stuff is at your fingertips. Level 2 has everything that level 1 has, except it also has 3 courses that you can go through a training that each are 6 hours each, okay? Because I'm CPE certified, so you guys can earn hours, CPE hours for these courses. My 3 courses are From Scribbles to Stories, which is how to launch Writer's Workshop from day 1, which I will be talking about more tomorrow. And then I also have Math Workshop, which how to launch Math Workshop from day 1. And then I also have Empowering Connection, the first week of school, tips and tricks, which is good for the first of the year. So each course is worth 6 CPE hours. And I know that some of you that are watching today are in my membership. I know Jelaine is in the membership and she's enjoying it very much. So if you're interested in a trial run for 7 days, it's only $1. No strings attached, okay? After 7 days, if you do not want to purchase the membership, then you can cancel. It is not a problem. And you can find out what it is for a whole week for only $1. I mean, that's a great deal. After a week, if you would like to subscribe to the membership, then you have to decide which level you would like. Okay, so yesterday I put a link in our Facebook group about my membership. If you want to check it out, there's a link there. You can find the post from yesterday. There's a video that you can watch about it, and that tells more information. Okay, so I just wanted to put that out there. Yeah, Jelaine says, please check out this cross-curricular membership. I signed up for the level 1 last year, and within the first week, I switched up to level 2. This is so worth it. I have used so many resources each month. Please try the trial run. I think you'll be impressed. Thanks, Jelaine. That is awesome. I love it. Thanks so much. That's awesome. So I will put another link in the comments in a little bit, okay? But we do have some Q&As today. And I know Abby is watching today, and Abby had a really great question. So she says, hi, I thank you so much for your videos. They have gotten me so excited to begin doing a writer's workshop in my classroom. And I am curious what writing scope and sequence you follow to teach all of the different writing styles and the process pieces of writing. I guess my question is, what are you using to get them to be able to free write the way that your examples show? Or is this what you will be answering in the next few days? Sorry for the confusing question. Now, that's a great question, Abby. So thank you so much for asking that. So in Texas, Abby, I'm not sure which state you teach in. Let me know which state you're in, Abby. In Texas, we have the TEACS resource system, which is our scope and sequence that our district follows. So it's for all subjects, okay? So in Texas, the order of genres for first grade are personal narrative, procedural, traditional literature, informational, research, poetry, and persuasive, okay? So if you do not have a scope and sequence for your district for your grade, I created one for you, okay, which I'm going to be posting it into the files section, okay? So here's what it looks like. Now this is for first grade, and it's good for kinder and it's good for second grade as well. I tried to make it as detailed as possible without giving too much information so you're not overwhelmed, okay? So, for example, I did it by 9 weeks. We have 9 weeks. We have 4 9 weeks in our school district. So the first 9 weeks, I divided it into different weeks. So you have week 1 all the way to week 9, okay? And this is exactly what I do, okay? So the first 4 weeks is all about tiny moments, and that is getting your students to understand what a tiny moment is. You're introducing the writer's workshop framework. You're not exactly starting the process writing just yet, but they're getting a little taste of it. So week 1 is write from your heart. You're going to show them what is an author and what is an illustrator. Now, I have all of these lessons already made for you in my membership in my Scribbles to Stories course. So if you're interested in checking that out, you might want to check out the link, okay? They are just like this reboot. They're exactly like this reboot, except they're different lessons for the very, very, very beginning of the year, okay? So I'm putting that out there just so in case you're wondering. Week number 2 is what is a dictionary, and you're going to do an intro to tiny moments. A tiny moment is a snapshot of your life. This is getting them ready for a personal narrative, okay? So that is week 2. You're going to spend a whole week on just that skill, okay? I love to spend a whole week on one skill, because guess how much stuff you could do with that skill for 1 week? You could read different mentor texts that go along with that skill. You can do anchor charts that go along with that skill. You can do interactive notebooks that go along with that skill. You see what I'm saying? So you can spend like 2 days on the I do. You can spend 2 days on the we do. Okay? You can spread it out. Okay? So it lasts a whole week. Okay? Just so you can kind of understand where I'm going, what I'm saying about this. Okay? Week number 3 is writing complete sentences using the sentence train, okay? Remember, on the first day of this training, I shared with y'all what this sentence train looks like, okay? I spent a whole week on writing complete sentences. We spent a whole week on what a sentence train is, how to use it. We make it, we color it, we glue it in our interactive notebook, and we write complete sentences. We practice. Week number 4 is what gets a capital. We spend a whole week on capital letters. There's so many great mentor texts that you can read. There's grammar tales that you can read. There's what if you were a capital. There's lots of great mentor texts. There's lots of great interactive notebooks you could do, practicing with writing complete sentences with a capital, making a baby I a capital. I mean, you could do interactive writing. You could write a story on your interactive writing. I mean, I could go on and on and on. You can tell I'm very passionate about this, okay? So a whole week on what is a capital letter. Week number 5 is what is punctuation. A whole week on periods, exclamation points, question marks, okay? You're still having them write their tiny moment story during all of this because they're applying that new skill to their tiny moment story, okay? Week number 6, they're starting their personal narrative. So by this time, they have already finished their tiny moment story. Most of them have, and they're ready to start their personal narrative. So you're going over what finger spaces are, writing a complete sentence with finger spaces, going over their sentence train, going over capitals and periods, punctuation. Week number 7, what is a verb? Okay, I am very passionate about adding my grammar lessons within my writer's workshop. I really take a lot of time to do that. I spend a whole week on my grammar, so a whole week on verbs. Okay, the next week is what is a noun, singular, plural, a whole week on that. Week number 9 is what is an adjective. Okay, size, color, shape, feeling, a whole week on adjectives. Okay, so they're applying that skill that I'm teaching them into their stories. That's their challenge. Okay, They're writing personal narratives. So the first 9 weeks is all about tiny moments, personal narratives. The second 9 weeks is the writing process. This is when we start the writer's workshop. It's full-blown writer's workshop. They've had a little taste of the different drafts already. They've had first draft and final draft and then publishing from their personal narrative. Now it's going to be even more detailed. So I'm going to show them what the process writing looks like. I'm going to show them their poster that I showed you with the popsicle sticks. Okay, that's week 10. Week 11, we go over what's brainstorming, first draft, and student conference. The whole week is just on those things. So I might do 2 days on brainstorming. I might do 2 days on first draft, 1 day on student conference as a mini lesson. Okay, I'm showing them what the different steps are. I'm showing them the templates that they need from the banker's box. I'm showing them what it looks like, what it sounds like, and then they're doing it independently at their desk. Okay, I hope this is not too overwhelming for you guys, but I'm just kind of giving you like a snapshot of what my year looks like. Okay, week 12, proofreading, teacher conference. Okay, maybe 2 days on proofreading, 3 days on teacher conference. So I have a lot of different details that I share with them. I have lots of mentor texts that I read to them about what good writers do. There's a lot of great stories about writing a story. Okay, for example, Arthur writes a story. A lot of great things. There's a proofreading story from Grammar Tales, Miss Fribble's Proofreading Police, I believe. That's a really great story. So I could give you lots of suggestions on mentor text. If you need any suggestions, just ask me. Okay, ask me as a question, and I can give you lots of examples. Okay, week 13 is editing and revision. I might spend 3 days on editing and 2 days on revision, or vice versa. Editing and revision is a very important part of the writing process. They need to be learning how to look at and fix their spelling. They're fixing their capitals, their punctuation. They're fixing their grammar. Like, does it sound good when I read it out loud? Can they even read it out loud to themselves? Right? Okay. And they're doing a free choice of genre, free choice of topic here. Okay. Week 14, final draft, publishing. I spend a whole week on those things. Okay. And then week 15, I start on procedural. So you could do this 2 different ways. You could have the genre picked out for them, but they're writing their own topic. Okay. Or if you want to give them these procedural writing in science or social studies, you can still have them do part of the writing process in science and social studies, depending on how much time that you have, but it's a little bit shorter. Okay. It's not the full-blown writing process that you would do for writer's workshop. If you're doing procedural, you can do it also in science or social studies. Okay. So the first week I am going over procedural writing. What does it mean? What does it look like? You're using first, then, next, last. It's a procedure. You're going over pronouns. Okay, so pronouns are a really good way for them to write in procedural. First, I will do this and this and this. Next, we could this and this and this and this. So they're using pronouns with procedural. Okay, week 16, it's basically the same procedure that we did with process writing, brainstorming, first draft, student conference with procedural. Okay, the second week is editing and revision. Okay, and the third week is final draft, publishing. And then what are prepositions? We're going over prepositions in the last week, the second 9 weeks. So that is the fall right there. Basically, that's it in a nutshell. In the spring, third 9 weeks, we go through the same procedure. Third 9 weeks is traditional literature. Traditional literature would be like fairy tales, folk tales, tall tales. Okay. You're going to introduce traditional literature. You're going to introduce what dialogue is. Okay. This is perfect for characterization. Characterization. What is your character round? Is your character flat? Okay. Does your character have dialogue? Okay. That's perfect. Week 20, you're brainstorming first draft, student conference with traditional literature. Week 21, proofreading, teacher conference with traditional literature. Okay. So on and so on. Week 23 starts research and informational text. So again, you could use research and informational text with science or social studies. Okay. It's just the process writing is going to be a little bit shorter amount of time. Because I don't know about you, but my science and social studies block is very, very minimal. Okay. So the stories need to go by a little bit faster, so I don't have them do as many steps during science and social studies. But for a writer's workshop, absolutely, yes. Then the fourth 9 weeks is poetry and persuasive. Okay? So intro to poetry, we do in first grade, we do sensory, we do imagery, we do acrostic, we do alliteration. You're doing the same steps of the writing process with poetry. And then persuasive, which is opinion writing, you're doing the same steps. You're reviewing all the grammar that you've taught them for persuasive writing. You're reviewing nouns, verbs, adjectives, pronouns, prepositions, all of those different grammar lessons that you've taught them. And after you've taught them what nouns are, don't forget about reviewing what nouns are. Okay, you can always review real quick. Turn and tell your neighbor what a noun is. When you line up, you can do an exit ticket. Who can tell me what a noun is? You can line up first. Okay, just little bits and pieces that you can review. You can do a recursive review any time of the day. Okay, they love that. They love that. Hey, you're going to get a bonus book if you get this right. Let's see who gets the question right. It's a quick exit ticket, right? So that is going to be uploaded in the file section in just a little bit. I'm sorry I spent a lot of time on that question, Abby, but I felt like I really needed to explain so you know exactly the procedure that I use for every genre, okay? So you guys can use that if you wish, if you need something, okay? So that's going to be it for today, okay? Stay tuned for tomorrow. Tomorrow's lesson is all about collecting new words. We're going to use The Word Collector by Peter Reynolds. I love that book, okay? So also don't forget to check the file section. Today you have lesson number 3 that you can download. You also are going to get the author's chair questions today in the file section, and also you're going to get the writer's workshop scope and sequence that I just shared with you today, okay? Remember, you have until January 18th to download all the videos that I'm sharing with you and all the resources, okay? So again, I hope you guys have a really great Happy New Year. I hope that 2025 fills you with healthy days and prosperous days. I hope that you guys have wonderful special time with your family today and spend time for yourself, okay? Because our break is not going to last forever, right? And so I know lots of you have to go back already next week. So until next time, let's take your classroom to the next level. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.